The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, Breaking Into, featuring in-depth interviews with today's most influential entertainment figures, highlighting their tips, tricks, and techniques on breaking into the entertainment industry.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, Breaking Into.
Ooh, a little brandy. A little 90s brandy. That's right. He'll let her sing. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Breaking Into. I'm your host, James Law Jr., and I'm glad you can join us in Brandy. I love this song. It's a great song. So welcome to another edition of Breaking Into. We take a person who's in the industry, and we talk about what their lives are like in that industry. And this person, I'm very happy to have her on my show. And I also have a guest host. I have all kinds of things going on today. I'm so excited. So first, I'm going to introduce my guest co-host because he's somebody you may recognize if you watch any of my other programs. We do the Edition Days after show on AfterBuzz TV, our sister network. And he is somebody who's a good friend of mine, and he's hilarious. And he actually knows the guest that we have on today, Mark J Freeman.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Mark J Freeman in the house.
Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lorraine Love, Lorayne Love. And if you want to know why I use Lorraine Love, Google it. It won't take you long to figure out.
It won't take very long at all. And the lovely lady next to me, she is an actress who's been in the business for a long time. And she's been on things, you may recognize her from Scrubs, recognize her from Passions, this is where I know her from especially. And she was on Pop TV's Queens of Drama. She's also done plays, one-woman show.
Yeah.
I mean, and she's somebody who actually embodies my motto here at Breaking Into about sharing knowledge, paying it forward, and lifting each other up. She does that in some of her philanthropy work and education stuff. We're going to talk about all of that on the show.
Woo-hoo.
My buddy, Chrystee Pharris.
What's up?
Hey, girl.
What's
welcome.
up?
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to say this out loud to everybody because I had met you on the Queens of Drama after show. I didn't do the show. I was doing another show. But I talked to you off camera.
Yes.
We had a great conversation about the business, and I kept that in my brain. This was earlier.
Okay.
This was like earlier in the summer. It was like way earlier in the year. And
When was that?
that was like,
I'm trying to remember.
That
When
was
too.
when you tried to call us out. And, why should wear that damn butterfly?
We're not talking about that today.
I was like, oh, what? Say that to my face, homie.
oh, that's right. Oh my God, that's right.
That's how
I was
got
thinking
your
you were
show.
that when you said you were going to queue up something. I was like,
Okay.
oh, he's going to queue up her telling me.
I thought about that. I thought about that actually, but I didn't do that. But no, what's funny is that it was earlier in the year,
Yeah.
before I even had this show, before I had anything going on, but I knew that I wanted to have you on here at some point because of the great conversation we had.
Yeah.
So thank you for being
No,
on here.
absolutely. I mean, it's always. I mean, I started doing motivational speaking when I was 10, and
Wow.
it started because there was a young man who I was like in the third grade. And this kid was smart as a whip. I mean, his name was Thaddeus. He would always beat me when we play flashcards with the,
Oh, yeah,
questions.
yeah.
And it would kill me because it would always come down to the bottom two of us. And so when we got to the fourth grade, the teacher just didn't know how to handle him and labeled him a bad kid and pushed him in the corner. And he was the smartest kid in the class in the third grade and in the fourth.
Yeah.
But from that moment, because she pushed him in the corner, he ended up starting to live up to that label of being the bad kid. And then he ended up on the streets and like doing all kind of crazy stuff. And from that moment, I started, mentoring young kids that were like, by that time I was like in the fifth grade. I went to all year round school in Vegas. And so the second grade students, I would go in and work with them, and the kids that were pushed in the corner were the ones that I would go and speak to. And then it just became this habit over the years. And then when I got to college, just talking about celibacy and, that whole thing, because I was celibate. And then, then all of a sudden, I got on a show, Passions, and then it became about the acting and going after your dreams and your goals. And now it's about teaching people the business of acting. So it's kind of evolved. But my whole entire life, like, I'm crazy. I'm the type of person that will stop a kid in the middle of a street and be like, what are you doing out here? Why are you out here? Like, smoking? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I ended up doing that to one kid in Boston. I'm glad he didn't beat me up, but he was like 14. He was like in a shelter, kind of home, a group home sort of thing. And he ended up performing with us at President Clinton's inauguration.
Oh my God!
So it's little things like that I've been doing my whole entire life, and so, it's kind of a habit.
Well, that's what I like about you. That's why this show. And I'm a certified life coach, and I just believe in giving back. And I love that you have affected change through yourself and how you're evolving through your kind of practice, and now you let it change you, and you changed it, and you're now talking about the acting and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. The business of acting class that I've been teaching, it started when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I went there, was traveling there a lot, so I had dual homes here and in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I woke up, like God woke me up at like 2:00 in the morning, and was like, teach, and I was like, hell no, I'm teaching. I was like, I ain't teaching nobody.
Especially not at 2 in the morning.
And so I was like, I don't have time for that. I'm a working actor. Like, I'm working, and I was like, I don't have time for that. And, I do it at colleges, like as a one-time thing, but not one-on-one coaching or seminars or groups, And I was like, no, I don't have time to like do that one-on-one. And then I was like, well, forget it. Because then I couldn't go back to sleep. So now I'm like arguing with myself.
Well, God was talking to you. Hello.
Right?
Hello.
And so I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to go on Facebook and go scroll through people's thing. And when I got on Facebook, it was 3 people that reached out to me and said, would you be my personal mentor? Will you be my teacher to teach me the business of acting? And they lived in Atlanta. Wow. And so
there you go. Hello.
I know.
Hello.
So I'm like, whoa. So in a matter of like not even a full week, I had 20 students.
Wow.
So I did like a big group session and then ended up narrowing it down to a couple of people who wanted to do like the long-term, And so like 6 of those kids that stayed with me ended up, they all booked their very first TV show, film, like on camera, like I have a speaking role. Right, that type of thing. And they've been doing it for years and never got a chance to get on TV and working with me for 5 months, I think.
Wow.
We just did the whole business side and they started working.
Wow. You have a quote that I like. I want to make sure I read this correctly.
Oh, I hope it's the right quote.
I hope it is too, girl. It says, quote, I want to give others what has been given to me. Hope, vision, and determination. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It shows that you are living gratitude for what's been given to you.
I do. When I first moved to LA, I was in school. I went to Emerson College, with Maria. And so and when I moved to LA, I was an intern on Young and the Restless in a show called Vibe, which was right across the street. They were both on CBS Live. Okay. And across from there, Steve Harvey was there. And so the same guy that did my hair did Steve Harvey's hair, which of course we all thought was not really real. And I still don't ever know, 'cause I'm like, I don't know what you're cutting, Scott, but like that big old thing that Steve had going that never moved. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he would always be in there doing Steve's hair,
Funny.
And so he was doing my hair as well. And I remember walking in there with this attitude and like, how come you didn't show up? I'm supposed to be getting my hair done. And Steve was like, who is this little girl? And because I looked like I was 16,
I'm sure. Yeah, you got that baby face.
Oh my God, it was so crazy. And so he was like, what do you do? I was like, I'm an actor. And he was like, okay, are you good? I said, I am the bomb. It was, that was popular to say back in that day.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I just aged myself.
Yes, I still say it. Yeah.
And so anyway, he gave me an opportunity, and then his manager, who's his manager now, Rashawn McDonald, he was working on Sister, and then that's how I ended up getting that, because they were, So my point is that the gratitude, I had all these people in my corner who didn't know me, who sat down and gave me wisdom. Steve was like, every time you step out of the house, you should look like an actor. You should look like what you want to be in life. You never know who you're going to meet people. And then, other people who like, you need to make sure you always have confidence. So mind you, when I went in for the auditions, I was scared as I don't know what, because I had never worked before. I'd never been on TV. But as soon as I had that audition, I walked in there like, what? Now, knowing I wanted to go like pee in my pants, but I was like, yo, what's up?
Right,
I'm the bomb. And then
right.
I ended up booking like 7 shows in 6 months, and that was all from the connections and the people that I met, just being in the right place at the right time and then having the confidence to back it up. And then, of course, the skills. I mean, you got to have talent. So, yay to Emerson College.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, too, and I like just acting classes and things that I've done, too, they say, they can smell it when you walk in the room. And I think when you walk in the room with that confidence, regardless of whether you have it or not, you can make them believe it. They're gonna put their faith in you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, it's all about having the faith and believing, even if you don't know. As long as you can walk at that confidence, people will be willing to put the money behind you. And that's what I always tell my students. It's like, listen, no one wants to give you $25,000 an episode, and you don't have confidence because every minute that you're on set, it's like $100,000, you know what I mean, or $1 million a minute, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So if you're messing up, if you come into an audition and you look scared, no one wants to put that money behind you. You know what I mean.
Yep.
So you have to have that confidence.
They're gambling. Yeah, they are. They actually are.
Yeah. So
and there's a million people out there who could do the job too.
Oh God, yeah.
You have to one person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So make them believe it. Make them believe it's you that they made the right choice.
And also too, another thing that people don't realize, it's all about relationships. You got to build relationships, because when you go into an audition, there's 12 people who can be good.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Of the 12, 3 of them can actually do it exactly the way that they want it to be done.
Yeah.
Of those 3, who are they going to go with? They're going to go with the one that they have a relationship with, that they trust, that they know is going to be able to come on set, be prepared. And so you have to build relationships with people. And the rule of 7 is you gotta contact people at least 7 times for them to even remember your name.
I like that.
Well,
we talk about that all the time. We talk about that off camera. We talk about that you could be the best host, best actress, best actor in the world, but if you don't have a bad personality, a reputation, you're done.
And I like to call it just annoy them 7 times.
Well, I guess I annoyed you 7 times with these butterflies. Look, with the butterflies. I annoyed you with the butterflies.
I know, that's so funny. Folks, there was Queens of Drama where she was on, and she wore butterfly clips, and he did the after show for that. Talk about a little bit about that.
Yeah,
well,
kind of funny. It was funny. I knew the show was coming on. I'd seen the commercials and stuff for it, and I knew who Lindsay was, and I knew Donna Mills.
Yeah.
I had seen Hunter Tyler, like I knew the name, but I'll be honest, I didn't really know
Stacy.
Crystal.
Yeah. And I did know once I didn't recognize your name, your real name, but as soon as I saw Passions, I was like, oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got asked to do the show. Grant, who's amazing.
Grant Rudder, everybody.
And I started watching it, and we talked a lot. You can go back and watch the after shows because they were fantastic.
Yes.
I did become a big fan of the show, and I liked the idea. I was going to ask you, since we were talking about the acting and stuff too, just because reality TV now seems to be starting, kind of has this stigma attached to it, where if you're going to be a real actor, don't do reality TV, that kind of thing. But in defense,
it's
changing, yes.
Yeah. But I also think too, we talked about this, I think, when you guys were there, that Queens of Drama, I liked how they described it as a docuseries, because it's more about the process of creating this new show, developing it, making those connections like you're talking about. So it's interesting. It's not just these
5, 6
slutty
women
girls that happen to be sisters that are running a business. I'm not going to say names. That are a waste of TV. But it actually has substance to it that you learn from it. And I learned a lot just from watching the first season of it. So we're hoping for a second season.
Yeah, no, me too.
And then the level of actors that were on the show. You know what I mean? Like it was a fun.
It's interesting because for the longest time, I was like, I don't want to do a reality show. Like I was like, but I realized that when I was doing I would audition, and it would come down to me and a reality show girl.
Oh, how funny.
And the reality show girl would get it. You know, and it was like because the followers, because of whatever reasons that she has,
right.
you know what I mean, and whatever. And so I was like, so I prayed for a year. I was like, okay, I need a reality show, but I wanted to be about soap operas, and I didn't know, you know, I didn't know what it could be, but I was like, I want to do something that has to do with soaps.
Well, and the thing is, too, is your show was, I mean, let's not kid ourselves, Donna Mills, Joan Collins. I mean, these are heavyweights.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, at least you're...
Vanessa.
And Vanessa, and Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was, like, what I'm saying is, like, it was a different kind of experience for me, because I tend to not watch much reality TV other than Survivor. Like, I like the competition type shows, but, like, the other stuff I don't tend to watch very much. But I got something out of it, and I think for you guys, you know, just to develop, like you said, a relationship with these people that are in the business, who have done the work, who, you know, now when Donna Mills is in a meeting and something comes up, I guarantee you pop into her head 10 times more than it would have had you not done the show.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, and again, I mean, you have people that excuse me.
Sorry.
Hunter Tyler, like, you know, I can't tell you, growing up, I thought she was the prettiest woman on freaking TV on the soap. I was just like, you know, I mean, I watched that show growing up, and I had admiration for Donna Mills and all of that. And of course, when the opportunity came up to create another show, and that was the reason why.
Right.
I was like, well, shoot, I get to put my hand in this and really develop and show my skills other than just being an actor.
Being a producer.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing.
And you didn't mess around.
Oh, no, you didn't. You were like, I wrote this scene.
If you haven't seen season 1 of Queens of Drama.
Did you see the way that she just took her freaking time? I was like, she's over there talking about, you know, hey, we got to hurry up. We don't have time for this. And I was like, I would never call it that. But I was like, if you don't get your behind over here.
Yes.
I was like, you're tripping.
You were good. You said you held your own. You're like, I'm not some ingenue who just got here 2 years ago.
You know,
you've been here for a while.
But you know, people are so interesting. Like when, you know, you try to make your mark in this business. I'm very fortunate because I've worked consistently for the last, 17, 18 years.
Wow.
19, actually, I think like 19 years, because it started when I was in Boston, had like this commercial. And I'm lucky that I've been able to stay consistent. I have my health insurance since I was 19. You know what I mean? I never had to work an outside job doing anything crazy or anything like that. But, you know, I've never made it to, like, Donna Mills status. Right. You know what I mean? Where, you know, like, I'm balling. Yes.
Yeah. But she can make a phone call, and they're like, we'll take the meeting.
You know what I mean? And that's what she did.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like, okay, Donna Mills, so great. Come on in. You know what I mean? Vanessa's attached. Great. Well, I want to get to a place where they're like, Chrystee Pharris is attached. No, well, that's not true, because that does happen.
And I'm sure it does happen.
But, you know, I'm waiting for the network, to be like, oh, Chrystee Pharris is attached. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm looking forward to when, you know, they're like, oh, you know, hey, you know.
So what do you have to say though to the people that are just starting that don't have the connections? Like, what do you tell people in your class? What guidance do you give for them, for the, you know, just for the networking and all that kind of stuff?
My thing is that, again, the rule of 7, you got to contact people at least 7 times in order for you to even make it in this business, because it's all about relationships. You have to do your shipments, like you have to do, sending out marketing materials, staying consistent, doing casting director workshops.
Does showing up at their job constitute?
I would never show up at someone's job. No.
Okay.
Sometimes
I won't do it.
No, please don't. Please don't. I'm looking. I don't know which camera's on, but please don't.
This is that borderline where I go into stalking.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen to her.
No, but and then creating your own stuff. You know, now they're lucky. Like, you know, I feel like now I'm in this place where, like, you remember back in the day when you would look at your parents and they didn't know how to, like, use, like, you know, a computer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were still using typewriters.
Yes.
You're like, oh my God, you got to get with it, you know? And then the iPhone, you got to get with it. Now I'm like, oh, snap. You know, everybody's doing their own stuff. Like, I got to start getting into the game of, like, okay, not waiting for the network. And that's the thing. People are now getting discovered off of a Vine video that's 6 seconds.
I know.
You know, or 15 seconds on Instagram.
Yeah.
They have the networks now and companies, the production companies, they have people that specifically go on YouTube every day to find their next star.
Wow.
And that is where you're going to have to start making your mark. Like there's a young lady, especially, I can only talk from an African-American,
Please do your
woman.
Black Hollywood Live. So
You know what I'm saying? Hey!
Yeah.
Black Hollywood Live.
That's right.
We used to have Black Hollywood Weekly here. So which was great.
Yeah.
But that got all messed up. That wasn't my fault. Sorry, Maria. I promise you. So, on a different note, you make sure you have the right people in your surroundings when you bring people in as a group.
Yes, I
But
agree
on
with
a
that.
different note, I forgot what I was talking about. I went on a tangent. I can only talk from an African American perspective, and so, but there was a young lady named, her name is Issa Rae. And she is, she's got, the afro. She's like, a chocolate girl. She's not, I think from her words or what I've read, Hollywood pretty. She doesn't look like Halle Berry.
Right.
She's not light skinned. She's not this or whatever. She doesn't this. Curly hair.
Yeah.
And she decided, okay, she got with her girlfriend, and said, and I'm paraphrasing, but she got with her girlfriend and was like, hey, let's shoot something. And her girlfriend was like, well, I bought a camera. I don't know how to use it. So they just started, doing these web series, and the first couple of shows were not the best. It was just,
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, they got 1 million hits, and then they did a second season, then they did a third season. Next, she's got a bidding war from I think Sony and Shonda Rhimes, and now her show got picked up, and it's going to be on HBO.
Wow.
And I think it's called The Awkward Black Girl.
Yeah, her.
So,
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's I know what you're talking about. Black People's Awkward Black Girl. I think it's so good.
But I'm like so freaking proud because she did her own thing. Now the only thing I'm pissed off about is that when I had the audition, you know what I mean? Like I was light skinned, so I couldn't audition for the show, and I was pissed. They wanted somebody chocolate, so there's some reverse racism. I can't help it that I'm light skinned. My ancestors. I can't help it.
Yeah. Well, I went to audition once when I was doing acting for a while, and I went in. I'm in my 40s, and I went in to play a grandfather in their 40s. They're like, "You don't look like you're in 40s."
Heck no,
But I'm like,
I don't look like it now.
I know, but I'm like, but that's what most black folks who are our age, we kind of look like this.
Exactly.
So I'm being real. But they want somebody who look extra old.
Right? Because how old? People, I'm still getting these 20-year-olds hitting on me, and I'm like, I'm old enough to be your mama. Really, seriously, I'm old enough to be your mama.
Exactly.
But you can go and keep on hitting on me. I just might say yes.
Hey, it depends, right?
You never know.
Now, okay, we have lots of others to talk about. We're going to switch gears for just a second.
Okay.
Roll that clip, please.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit.
That was over a year ago. And you're just now telling me this? Because I found you two doing it? It's because we didn't want to hurt you.
We tried to tell you a dozen times.
It's just that you were so... you never gave us a chance. Oh, so it's my fault that you're a backstabbing slut. No. You are not my sister. A sister would never do this to another sister. You're nothing but a whore. A low-life whore.
Ow.
I love it.
That's what she did to me when she came to Africa.
Exactly. Okay, I showed a clip. That's from Passions, and that's Chad and Simone. The actors, I forgot their names right now, but they were played Chad, Simone, and you. Okay, here's the thing. I have to say this because this is an African American network. Passions was created by the late James E. Riley, who did Days of Our Lives for a while, and he is known for his outrageous storylines. There were apes on there and living dolls and doing all stuff. But the one thing that I appreciated, because I watched Passions, and I remember you from Passions, was that there was an African-American presence on that show that was consistent.
Yes. Yeah.
It was consistent. A lot of the shows didn't do that, but he purposely, you guys were front burner storylines.
Yeah, so were the Latina.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Fitzgerald, Lopez Fitzgerald, all of them. We already know Galen Gehring, and we talked to them either on Days of Our Lives stuff. But no, but for African-American stuff, it was just like, they actually have them on doing regular soap storylines.
Yeah, no,
They happen to be black.
And worked consistently.
Yeah.
And that, let me tell you, I'll never forget, like when my girlfriend loved the show. She watched that show consistently. That's when VHS tapes were like popular.
That's
She's
right.
like videotaping.
I probably still have some VHS.
Right.
Me too. Me too.
And so she was, she loved the show, and I remember watching it with her one day. I was like, "This show is horrible," and I think I was a little more upset about it because I wanted, I had 6 people that called on my behalf to get me in to audition for Brooke's part, the one that played Whitney, and they would not see me, would not call me in, and I was so upset. So of course now I got a really bad attitude.
This show's horrible.
And so then fast forward to 2 years later, I get a call, and especially too after I just this show sucks. I was like, oh my God, can you give me those tapes?
Yeah.
And so they call me in, and I remember, and this is why I always believe this: what's meant to be yours will be yours. You can't mess it up, and no one can take it away from you.
Ooh, okay.
Because I had my first audition for it, and my girlfriend, another girlfriend of mine, went in prior to, and she was at that age, she was 24, and the character played 16. She was 25, and so. She went in, the casting director asked her what her age was, and she was like, and she goes, all right, I'll tell you. She tells the age, she goes, yeah, we're not going to write that down. Well, I think at that time I was 24.
Oh, okay.
And so I went into the audition and was like, I'm not telling her my age.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, she's like, hey, what's your, Jackie? And so she's like, hi, so what's your age? I was like, I'm over 18. She goes, no, but honey, what's your age? And I was like, sometimes people think I'm too young, and then some people think I'm too old. She goes, well, honey, just tell me your age. I was like, she goes, well, I'll tell you my age. And I was like, well, can you just ask my agent? And her whole demeanor changed, because when you say the agent thing, that's like, oh no, she didn't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, do the same. So I start the scene.
But they can't ask, can they?
Technically, no.
No, we can't.
They're not
ask.
supposed to.
Okay, I was saying, I thought
but they can't be biased. But that's why the girl, she was 25, and she was like, I'm not going to put it down.
Yeah.
But they want to know, to make sure, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, ask my agent. You know what I mean? Which means you ain't supposed to be asking me this question.
Right, right.
Which would shut her down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jackie. Thank you for hiring me. So I end up having the audition. I mess up, on the second line, and I was like, I'm sorry, can I start again? And she's like, okay. I mess up again, second line of the thing. Can I start again? And she's like, I'm not listening to you. Can I start again? And she's like,
Yeah.
do it. She gives me a call back. So I leave. I start walking to my car, and I'm like, fudge. Why? Just give me another opportunity, God. Please, I promise I won't mess it up. Get a call back. Yes. Go in for the producers, for Lisa. Love you, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
So I go in, and I get to that second line. Freaking messed up. So can I start again?
What was that second line?
I don't know. It was something. If I wasn't connected, there was no way I was going to make it through.
Yeah.
Okay.
So second line, I mess up. Go through it again, start doing it, and I'm like, oh, yes, I made it through, and I'm like cruising. I get to almost the end, and I lean on the table like this, but it's glass, and it freaking almost falls off. So now I catch it in the middle of the thing, and I'm like still in character, and I do my thing. So I'm all happy, like I made it, and by the time I get to the car, I'm like, oh, I suck. Why? If I could just get another opportunity.
Yeah.
And then they called me to test for the show. And then they waited a month. So I ended up going to, got my friends together and had little snacks and was like, okay, let's go over this stuff, right? Actually, I did that with Scrubs. I'm lying. I did that with Scrubs. Because I remember having my friends with comedians and stuff, come over to help me.
Okay, yeah.
So, because they didn't want me on Scrubs. They wanted someone else.
Wow.
So anyway, went to the final callback. The girl that played Kay, she was my friend on, I tested with her and messed up again on that second line.
Wow.
And then they had to change my shoes, so I calmed down, I did my thing, and then before I walked out, the one that played Julian.
Yeah.
This was the character Julian?
No, this here's Alistair.
Alistair,
and he plays Julian. I've got his name.
Julian Crane.
Yeah,
Crane.
Crane. Yeah, great.
So anyway, when I walked out, he stopped me and was like, you're amazing. He's like, if you don't book this, you're gonna get something else, but you're amazing.
Okay.
And then Brooke, the one that played
Kerr,
Whitney,
right.
Whitney and Lindsay, who played Teresa,
Yes.
they most young girls don't do this, or young people, actors, they don't do it, but they also were like, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I walked out with confidence, and so I left it on the table. I left it there, and then I tested for. I got another pilot for Warner Brothers. So now I had 3 things on the table. A pilot, I booked a commercial the same day, and then Passions, and it forced Passions to make a decision early. So I ended up getting it. I'm busy! I know. And so...
it's your agent!
I know. Exactly. Then I'd have been like, yo, hello! I'd have been like,
who's that handsome guy sitting next to you?
They're like, who's the host?
Exactly. So anyway, so I ended up booking the show, and then I remember like just being like, oh my God, my whole entire life is going to change. And they threw me in like 2 days later. I had 3 scripts that I had to memorize. I had this big long dialogue to do, and I was going, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And literally in 2 days and try to get this stuff memorized. So the first month of like no sleep, because I literally was like making sure I was on point because I had so much dialogue. I like when I finally got my first break, I slept for like 3 days.
Wow.
So.
I was going to say, when Eric Martzoff was on our Edition Days, this was off camera, he actually didn't say it on camera, but he said Passions was hands down his best gig in that, like, they took good care of him. His dressing room. He's like, is that your experience with it as well?
Listen, we would have to be there at 6:30 in the morning, and some nights 9 times out of 10 for the first 6 months I was on a show, we were not leaving till 11:30 at night.
Wow.
I mean, it was like crazy.
Yeah.
And I loved every minute. I walk in there like, hey! and like the one that played Miguel, you know what I mean, and the one that played Louise,
Jesse Metcalf, all of them. Yeah, they were all
of them would look at me like, why are you so freaking happy?
Yes.
And in my mind I was like, cause I'm working.
Yeah, right.
Hi everybody, I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was just happy. And then by the time we got to the 3rd season, when I was on my 3rd season, part of the reason why I left the show was because they stopped working me. Like I had that whole big huge after that. I had a great little write-ups. They were like, everybody's numbers are declining except for Passions, where Simone finds out that Whitney. Like, there's all these great write-ups. And then they just stopped working my character. And I just was like, what happened? And then that show, All of Us, they were interested in me playing Jada.
Oh, wow.
Show,
Okay.
but I couldn't get out of my contract. And it really sucked. I didn't try, but I was like, so I was pissed. So by the time that 3rd season, I was like, I don't want to be on a show where I'm not working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, and you have to, and they had to pay me. They had to pay me the money that I was guaranteed. So I'm like, you should have just worked me.
Yeah.
You know, now you still got to give me this big lump sum of check. And, you know, and I was just, I was kind of sad about that because I like to work. I'm happier when I'm working.
Yeah. It's funny. Tracy Ross's mother and my mother were friends.
Oh, really?
So
we just hung out like 2 nights ago.
I loved her mom. So I mean, it's kind of funny. I remember her when I was a kid, and stuff, and they were all in this. My mother used to work for Budlong Elementary School, and they were all teachers and things. And so I don't Miss Ross, but I never met Tracy though. I never met Tracy though.
But to get her on the show.
I know. I'd love to get her on the show.
Yeah, I'll bring her.
Thank you. Yes, let's do that. Because I would love to talk. Because she's been in business for a long time too, and from modeling stuff and.
God, she was the first
Star
woman.
Search.
Yeah, Star Search.
Oh, I know the history.
Man.
All the histories.
I was just like, oh my God, because you know there weren't a lot of black women on TV during that time period, and I just remember going, and I thought I was going to be on Star Search because I was a singer. I thought I was going to be a singer.
Oh, how funny!
You know, I was like, I'm going to be a singer. You know, and I just remember going, I'm going to be on Star Search like her. Of course, she was modeling, but you know,
I remember from that. But it was just part of a little hometown, like, oh, somebody we know on there. So Star Search was very exciting. But anybody African American, but back then we were watching because there was no social media, there was no internet. We're like when I got to interview James Reynolds, who plays Abe, and who's also in Generations, and stuff. I told him, like, you were like somebody I got to see growing up because there weren't many of us on daytime soaps.
Yeah, exactly. He's a great people. He's really good, great guy.
Yes.
He's a good friend of mine.
He's a good guy, and he has the theater, the Center Theater in Pasadena, and him and his wife are just amazing.
Yeah,
amazing
I performed
people.
over there. So.
Oh, you have? Okay,
I did In Search of O, my one woman show over there.
Well, I went to your one woman show, of course, and no, but back to Passions first. So I don't ask the question, would you ever do a soap again? That just means that's whatever. But my question is, if you were offered a soap role, what kind of role would you like to play on a soap, you would think,
that's
at this
a good
point?
one. I don't care. I just want to work.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. I was like, I don't want to ask just the rope question. Like, you're going to sell. I mean, but like,
yeah. I had an opportunity to do. One of the things I do regret, because the one show that I always wanted to be on was Young and the Restless, and and so I tested for Young and the Restless like a week after I graduated college because I was an intern, and again building relationships with people. So I was super excited about it, and I ended up not getting it. I was green. I tested with Shamar Moore, and then after I got off Passions, they asked me to come back again, and it went very well. And so they called my agent, and my agent said, what my agent told me was that they said, Chrystee, we don't have anybody to audition you against. And I'm thinking, well, just give it to me then. And it was for the character Lily, because Lily, she left the show.
Yeah, she did for a minute.
She left the show. Yes. And so I was all like, great, like, what's the problem? Give it to me. I've already tested. I just came off Passions. You know my work. You guys love me. I know you guys. And they waited for like 6 to 7 months. And then by that time, I called my agent. I said, what's going on with Young and the Restless? Yeah, we haven't heard anything. You should just move on. I was like, fine. So I cut my hair really short. And then like 3 weeks later, hey, we want to test you tomorrow. And I'm like, and by that time, and I was hot, I just, Scrubs had just happened, and I had a pilot that I had just auditioned for, so we thought we were going to get something else. And so I passed on it, but I really wanted to do it. But it was kind of my management team who was like, no, we think you should pass. We think you're going to get something else. And then I didn't get shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
But, so that was the one thing that I wanted to do. I really wanted to do that show. And because I was always a Young and the Restless fan.
Young and the Restless now, please. She's ready.
I'm ready.
So this time she'll accept. She'll do it.
Yeah.
Give her a good role.
I'll play anything. And I'll slap anybody.
Right, exactly.
You need me to do.
We'll show that clip again, right?
I'll sleep with anyone. I'll be deceiving if I have to. I'll steal somebody's baby. I'll kill someone. Just as long as you bring me back to life. If you kill me.
Yes, exactly.
I need long term.
That's where it happens. Daytime.
Yeah.
Now you did do Scrubs, which I know you from that too, of course. Yeah. And so Donald Faison.
Yeah, he's.
Come on, talk about that a little bit.
Well, Donald and I met years ago, like the one that played. Do you guys remember Bud Dion? Dion Richmond. He was on. Oh my God, he played Bud on the Cosby Show.
Yes.
He was also on Sister Sister.
Yes. Okay. Remember Rudy's friend Bud? It was like Bud. Yeah.
And then he played the boyfriend on Sister Sister. Yeah. And so I worked on that show. I was just at Tyrese's party yesterday, and Tyrese was on the show as well. I met all of them during that time period in the late 90s, 99, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And when I got a chance to work with him on the show, I mean, it was such a joy.
Because I know you're funny. Off camera, I know you're funny. So I'm glad to see you do some comedy.
Yeah, well, I started off doing comedy first before I did. I was doing, the Sister Sister, Moesha's, and, Steve Harvey, all those shows. So I started doing that first. I'm really known for comedy. Yeah. So when Scrubs came along, they didn't want me. They wanted another girl that I knew. They were just like, hey, my girlfriend worked on the show. She's like, hey, just so you know, they're really looking at such and such. And I was like, really? They're like, but she's not funny. So I was like, oh, she's not funny. That's not her strong point. I said, oh. So I got my friends together, and who some of them were like comedians, and some of them were just regular actors, and I had them in the living room, and I was like, well, what can we do to make it funny? Yeah. And then that's when I did the little walking down the step thing, and added some extra thing because one of the things that they said was Scrubs is not. When you look at the script, it's not funny.
Right.
You have to find the funny.
Yeah. They're very slapsticky. They're very visual. That show's very visual.
Right. Yeah. So you have to find it. And so that was what she said to me. So I found the things that made it funny. Okay. And when I went in for the audition, it was so many girls there. I mean, you name it, all the big stars at that time were huge. They were all in there. Because it was a big thing that he was bringing on a black girl to play his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So finally, we get to the final call, and I go in, and Bill Lawrence, who I still admire to this day, he says to me, he was the creator of Scrubs and also the
Cougar
new one.
Town and Undateable.
Yep. Yes. So what ends up happening is he says, listen, if I don't laugh, don't take it personal. I hate the script. I can't wait for it to be changed and whatever. Oh. So I had also did this whole visual thing. This is another thing, you guys. If you guys want to make it in anything in life, I literally will draw stick figures, I'll write, I'll visualize what it is that I want, and it always happens. So I visualize them laughing in the audition room.
Okay.
That the producers, they're like, you're so funny. Here's $10 million. We love you. I didn't get the $10 million, but
Well, you get the part.
But I did get the part.
Yes.
So Zach Braff and all of them were in there, and Bill laughs. He was like, "Oh my gosh, you're really funny." And before I got to my car, literally from here to 25 feet, they called and said, we're offering the role.
Wow.
And they said that my girlfriend who worked on the show, she said, Zach came back. It's like, you killed it. She was like, Zach came back and talked about this girl from Passions. She was so good. And I was like, did he know me from that show? I doubt he watched it.
Right. But
obviously they studied on, because she was going to be, this character was going to be recurring.
Yeah.
And
you were good on it.
Fun. Thank you.
I love Scrubs. Scrubs is one of my favorite shows of all time. I love Scrubs.
Really?
I know, seriously, I could watch the reruns. I mean, because the show had heart.
Yeah.
There were episodes that broke my heart on that show. And I love slapstick comedy. I love comedy. I love visual comedy.
I get people all the time to this day. I remember being in New York and some people from Argentina and some other place. I think like Germany or something, and they were walking by.
Yeah, my husband's German.
Really?
He loved.
Oh my God, they're huge. I did an autograph signing down there.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, like they flew me. I'm like, I was a reoccurring. They flew me. So they're walking by and they're looking because we were sitting outside in a cafe, and then they walk by again and they're looking, and finally I could tell when people know. I just like, hey, I'm just like, don't be afraid. You can say hi. Yeah. I just wave and they're like, you were on Scrubs, right? And I was like, yes, we love that show. And I was like, well, come on, let's take a picture. And so they're like, really? I was like, yeah, just, just tweet it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I ask you to do.
Give me some press.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but the Scrubs was huge. That was probably one of the best jobs. And watching them, they were really funny and creative. And I loved it because we would do what was on the script. And then right after that, we were allowed to do whatever we wanted.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Not like Passions.
No.
Or daytime in general.
No,
from the sounds of it.
You stick to the script.
Yeah. We always talk about that with some of our actors. They always say, yes, how much is ad lib? And they're like, not that much. Or only a few of them get away with it.
A few.
I guess. Also, you had a one-woman show.
I do.
And so how's that going? Because I one of my first guests on this show, his name is Joshua Silverstein, had his first one-man show earlier this year.
Oh.
And he's black and Jewish. And he talks about the whole thing of being that in L.A. And great guy. First episode of my show, you can watch it. But I want to find out your thoughts about putting it together and how it was for you, putting together a one-woman show. It's all about you.
It was. It started out as I wanted to write a one-woman show. I had went through a divorce. I waited until I was 27 to have sex, and I waited until I got married to have sex, and so it wasn't the best experience. And so
I'm sure.
And people don't like to talk about. People don't like to talk about those things. Everybody makes it seem like sex is like the bomb every single time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Everything's wonderful. So young girls and young guys, I'm telling you right now, it's awkward, weird, and like, oh, what?
Yes. Yeah.
And so I decided to write this story about in search of and so I sat down and started writing and took this class and and so you write 2 pages every day and I'm telling the story, and it was funny because the people in the class didn't get it, but the teacher understood what I was writing, and they're like, I can't believe why you're writing So we ended up doing it for the showcase. We had all these people. We had about 100 people in the audience 2 nights in a row, and they would not stop laughing, and it was just me telling the story, no movement or anything like that, and they're just like, oh my God, this was so funny. Like literally the women that were in the front, I had 3 older women that would not stop laughing. So from that moment, I took it and got a director, Lois Roach, who's an Emerson alumni. She has an Emmy, and she's an amazing woman, my mentor actually. She directed the show, and then I started performing it at colleges, and then got accepted to a bunch of different festivals. And the conversation that we have afterwards is amazing because it's about waiting until marriage to have sex and the fantasy versus the reality of that experience, which makes it very funny. And I come from a very humorous point of view. But it's a journey, and you realize it's about having a connection. The orgasm comes from a connection, not from where we think it comes from. And so, and I think that's the reason why colleges really love to hear it and see it, and then talking about waiting and searching for it. And there's different characters, like I I speak to my aunt. I talk to my aunt about it and realize that the women in my life didn't have orgasms. And then I go to a sex shop and a bookstore and then a pole dancing class. So I have a pole dancing and the little Latin. No, don't be afraid. Come on in. No, don't be shy. No. And I'm now working on a Haitian accent for one of the other characters. And then I'm sure next year I'll be putting it up again and traveling around.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Because you've done stage direction stuff. I mean, any questions you have about that kind of stuff?
Well, it's funny. You were just talking about Emerson. We just had I work at the Odyssey Theater now. I'm the box office manager there, and Emerson just did a showcase there.
Oh,
so that's so funny. Like we were just talking about Emerson. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
it's got to be the same Emerson.
yeah. No, Emerson was great. I remember performing there and having the students like, usually, after a show, kids usually get up. Yeah. Not one student left, and they stayed for 45 minutes having a talk back about the subject matter. Wow. And that was deep. It was the best thing.
And had you done other live theater prior to this?
Yes, but the first show that I did live with movement was at Emerson.
Okay.
Like I talked a lot of mess, and I went to the school. I was like, yeah, I have a one-woman show. And they were like, oh, really? Well, let's set a date. And I was like, oh. I was like, and I talk a lot of mess. And then next I called Lois. Lois, I need you. Can you do a sister a favor? I promise to have your name on everything.
Yeah, of course.
Total
credit.
So she did it.
I mean, it's a different beast, the live theater versus...
It is, because you don't know. Especially too with... And I had to change the music because I was concerned that they weren't going to know some of the songs because they were so young.
Oh, how funny.
I was like, I'm everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It's like...
They're like, who's that? Where's Nicki Minaj?
You know what I'm saying?
Seriously.
Right.
That's my alarm song that wakes me up every morning.
Oh. I love it.
Just as a reminder to myself.
Hilarious.
And so doing the one woman show, what have you learned about yourself while doing it? The process.
You know what? Someone actually told me. I had these girls that came that were drug addicts that came to the show to see it. And the first time that I did it without movement for the showcase, and they came up and they said, I totally get it. Well, when I wrote it, I didn't know what the heck I wrote. I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. I just wrote it and did it. Tell me, what did I write?
Hey, right.
And they were like, it's about the connection. And I was like, because as a drug addict, you're trying to disconnect. And I realized that that's what I was trying to disconnect. And then I realized it's about a connection. And I think what it did was it also helped me to realize what I really want in a relationship. And what I don't think I really wanted. I don't think I knew what I wanted, and I married someone who was my best friend from junior high school, and we're still friends, but we weren't.
Did he see the show?
No.
Oh, you did?
However.
Okay, I was like, you didn't?
However,
that's all I've been thinking.
Me too.
However, I did this talk show because I was doing this show in D.C. And they posted because I did like a little bit of the beginning of it, talking about, waiting, this is what happened. And he was like, Chrystee, he called me up. He was like, hey. I was like, hey, how you doing? What's up? How you been?
Oh my God, how's it going?
He was like, so I saw this little video clip of your one-woman show that you told me about, and luckily I have a sense of humor. Like, I was glad I could laugh because you said some. I was like,
oh, oops. Yeah.
Right. I was like,
Were you hesitant at all as you were writing the show about the subject matter or about him?
Because I was concerned about putting something out there, and of course there's you have to embellish on it to make it funny, to do some things. But there was a lot of truth to it. Of course, he didn't know that was the truth of what I was thinking in the midst of the stuff. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, wow. Like I talk about like KY jelly, like like trying to put it in before he he gets out of the shower and and I'm like, because I don't want it to hurt because everybody was telling me it's gonna hurt. So I put KY jelly and then he does some stuff and I'm going, that must taste kind of nasty. What is he doing? Like, oh my God, is this supposed to feel good? Like, what is this? And then I'm just like, well, at least it doesn't hurt. Why do I smell flowers in here? I smell flowers. I'm allergic to flowers.
Oh my god!
You know, I'm like, oh, those are the candles my girlfriend's bought and put it on the thing. Wow. I think, oh my God, I gotta sneeze. Oh my God, I have snot running down. I have to get up and blow my nose. Wait, no, I don't want to get up because if I get up, I'm gonna have to start this all over. And I just want this to hurry up and be over with. Oh my God, I have to do this again tomorrow.
Wait. When is your? What's your show now? What's your show?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like people are just like. When I say laughing, they're just like, people are red in the audience because they're like,
God.
I cannot believe
It's so relatable, though. It's so relatable.
because you're just like, people don't, everybody.
We're not in the movie. We're not in the movie, folks.
Right, but it's like the movies, they make it seem like, and everything's so wonderful.
Yeah.
And not to say that, hey,
It can be. It can be.
Oh, yeah.
but my God, when you're just like, some days you're just like, oh, God, I need to do my laundry. Oh, don't sweat out my roots right now. This is Black Hollywood Weekly, so all the black women and the black men can relate. And some of y'all who date black women can understand when a black woman's like, I don't sweat out my hair, homie.
My next appointment until like 2 weeks. I know that one.
Look, she's on vacation.
Yeah, right, exactly, right.
So those are the things that we think about.
Oh my God, I want to see the show now. I want to see the show. Perform it right now.
But you said you're working on doing it again.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay.
This year was so busy because I was my film Steps of Faith that just came out. Yeah. We were on tour we were in 20 festivals and we won like 13 awards.
Yeah, you're busy.
Yeah, 2 Best Actress and 2 Best Films.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I was doing that this whole entire year and working on different TV shows. And then of course, Queens of Drama. So I was so focused on that. But this year coming up, I'm going to be hitting different cities. If you're interested in me coming in and speaking about the business of acting, please hit me up. I would love to do a seminar in your area if you're interested, or one-on-one. You can contact me. You can, Chrystee Pharris at Gmail. Really, the business of acting workshop at Gmail is the best one because then your emails won't get mixed in with my regular mail. But you can contact me, and I would love to sit down if you're interested. But it's only if you're really serious. I'm
going to actually talk to you about next year. We're going to because I have another show that I'm putting together.
I know.
That's like hanging on stuff. So we're going to talk.
Doing.
Yeah, me, I'm always doing something. But we're going to do something with that. Where I'm going to have you on talking about that.
Yeah,
we're
sounds
do that
good.
For sure. I mean, our time is just...
I know, it's almost... And I got to make sure, because I want to sing happy birthday to you, too.
Yes, because it was Mark J. Freeman's birthday recently.
How long
a week ago.
Today?
It's a week ago.
Today's the 20th? Okay,
yeah.
A little bit ago.
Yeah, a little bit ago. And she wanted to say a little hey birthday to their buddies.
Yeah.
So you can go right ahead.
Well, let me wear my butterfly while you sing.
Butterfly.
Because I was hot gluing the
before I got here.
There's the camera so I can see.
There he is. There we go. Yeah,
That's so funny.
It's in. There we go. Okay, ready?
Go ahead.
Ready?
Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mark. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, beautiful.
Happy birthday.
So much.
Oh my God.
Mwah.
That's so
Thank you.
beautiful.
We've come a long way.
Yes, we have.
From the
adversary.
talking about her butterfly.
I don't know why she wearing that butterfly. She too old for that. I was like, yo.
That was the best.
It was the best.
It was awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. So, the business of acting, I mean, you're out there, and that's why I want you on. You have your hustle on.
Yeah.
But you're also very humble. And I appreciate both of those things
Absolutely.
very much. Thanks for being on today.
Thank you very much.
And Mark, thanks for coming on today
Thank you
also.
for
Have to have you back as a guest host
So
again.
good to see you, and I look forward to season 2.
Yeah,
season 2, hopefully. Season 2, hopefully.
Because
I haven't heard anything either. I don't know. I mean, I haven't
well,
heard
we
anything.
hopefully should be shooting, the first quarter of next year. So
Next year.
Yeah.
That's what I think
And there was
so,
a
too.
casting notice for new
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and then
because we don't know what happened to Hunter at the end.
Exactly,
We still
but-
don't know what
That's right, we
happened.
don't.
But again, too, I have my purse line and stuff like that. Once,
yes,
once
that's
all
right.
that stuff,
Yes.
once all that shit happened with. Excuse me, sorry, all that stuff happened with Donna. I just was like, well, I got my own thing, and so I've taken. There's if you're a Passion fan, you're gonna love the purses.
Ooh,
If you're into that whole thing, you're gonna love it. I don't want to give too much, but there should be completed in that first quarter of 2016.
Oh, good.
Thank you. And so I have that in the business of acting, and then hopefully I should have another TV show, because if again, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if I want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? With all that stuff with Donna, it made me kind of go, I'm gonna get my own show.
Yeah.
With y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, if you do or you don't, you should still come join us at AfterBuzz for the after show.
Oh, you should.
It'd be even more fun if you're not.
Oh, I know.
I'd be like, them tricks. they missing me. They should have let me write my own show. I'm the star.
We'll take our after show to a whole nother level.
Oh, that would
Gave
totally.
me 2 lines. That's why I got my own show.
So make sure you go. It should still be on Pop TV. I think you can watch past episodes, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm not
or something.
sure.
I'm not sure either.
I don't know. We'll see. Because I think some people tried to go on and find it and they couldn't find it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
But more of her career will be on my Facebook page, Breaking Into. You will be following her, put on her links and all kinds of stuff going on with her. So you can go to that page, follow it, like it, and you can follow her on there. I'll be posting things for the next 100 years.
Yeah,
with you,
and thanks. It was Black Hollywood Live.
Yeah.
I was about to call it Black Hollywood Weekly.
Yes, yeah.
Black Hollywood Live. All of you guys out there, thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
Thank you for having me too.
Thanks for having you too. Where can they find you, Mark? Actually,
on Instagram and Twitter at Lorraine Love, LORAYNE LOVE, and on Facebook / the Mark J Freeman.
Woo woo.
Or at the Odyssey Theater box office.
That's right. And of course, you can find me at Black Hope LA on Twitter, James L. Jr. on Facebook, the Breaking Into page. On YouTube, go ahead and like us, comment, rate us, tell me what you think. I read all the comments. I do. And of course, as always, share knowledge, lift each other up, and pay it forward. I'm James L. Jr. See you next time.
All right.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Chrystee, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio, Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Undefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.